proverbs, because proverbs are very useful sentences and very helpful ways of learning English. For example, there's a proverb, a Yiddish proverb, a wise man hears one word and understands two. Means that somebody who is smart, when he pays attention to what other persons has said, he gets a deeper meaning. He can read between the line. So a wise man hears one word and understands two. There's also an English proverb, little strokes fell great oaks. Means that when you have a very difficult task or job, don't expect to be able to get it accomplished quickly and easily. Instead, focus on breaking it down. Thanks for the question. So, do you both fragments contain the word you? So I'm sure you must know you means the other person. For example, if you say you are a great man, it means that the other person with whom you're speaking is a great person. So you, okay, you understand it. But do you and are you are different in the sense that do means is from the verb to do or to be able to do something. For example, do you speak English? Do you speak English means are you able, are you capable of speaking English? Or you could say, do you eat fish? It means do you can you eat fish? Are you used to eating fish? Whereas are you is used in the sense that you could say, are you French? Are you Italian? It means the person's identity. For example, if the person is a tourist, you could say, are you a tourist? Are you a foreigner or an immigrant? So are means are refers to the person's identity, for example, as a foreigner, whereas do refers to his capacity. For example, do you play an instrument, or do you go fishing? So that's the difference between do you and are you. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate. Just let me know. Meanwhile, I'll just continue with some basic proverbs that are very useful. For example, the English proverb, you should not add fuel to the fire. It means that when there's a bad situation, you should not make it worse. For example, if someone has said something wrong, you should not insult him further. You should not make any bad remark, because otherwise the situation will escalate and he will be even more angry, and there won't be it won't cease. So don't add fuel to the fire. Another proverb, sometimes the cure is worse than the disease. Sometimes the cure is worse than the disease. This means that sometimes when you try to rectify a problem, the solution goes that bans the use in the commercial the use of drugs, let's say. it might make the situation even more complex, even harder, because then there will be black markets. There won't be any regulation. So the drug users, they might end up using very dangerous drugs because the drugs won't be regulated by the government. Instead, it might be even dangerous to their lives. So sometimes the cure is worse than the disease. Sometimes it's better not to try and prevent something. You should. There's another proverb. There's a very common proverb: "Man plans and God laughs." It means, it's a Yiddish proverb. It means that a human, a man or a woman, can only make propositions, but it's only God who will decide what will happen. So you can make a lot of plans, but in the end it will be down to luck or down to other forces outside of yourself. And there's also an similar proverb: "Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans." I think it's John Lennon who said that. John Lennon, a very famous singer. So life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. Means that, let's say you're making plans, you're preparing a trip to, let's say, Mexico or England. You can take a lot of steps, you can spend a lot of time deciding where you will stay, where you will visit, but in the end there might be an unpredictable event that just pops out, and then it ruins all your plan. Another very useful and common proverb: the apple does not fall far from the tree. This one means that children children, they tend to end up becoming very similar to their parents. For example, let's say your dad, your mom is an actress. She's a famous actress. It's very likely for you to end up becoming an actor yourself and follow in her footsteps. So in this case, we say the apple does not fall far from the tree. These kinds of proverbs, they are very useful if you're writing an essay for an exam, because it makes your essay, it makes your writing very original. You grasp the attention of the examiner right from the start, instead of starting with a very cliche way, such as, "In today's society we have this problem or that problem." Instead, start with a quote or a proverb. That way you can elaborate from that and then make it relevant to what you're writing next. So another proverb: two mountains can't come together, but two people can. Two mountains can't come together, but two people can. Means that no matter how many diverging opinions you may have, let's say two countries are at war, there's always one way for the two countries to find a common ground, to find a compromise, and to be able to make an agreement. So two mountains can't come together, but two people can. Another very wise proverb is time is more precious than money. Time is more precious than money. This means that today maybe you may have let's say $10,000 in the bank. Tomorrow you may earn 10 times that amount. You may multiply your wealth, but time, you always end up with less time. Every day you have less and less time. So time in this sense is more precious than money. Money is theoretically unlimited, but time is very, very scarce. You cannot inherit time, but you can inherit money. For example, if your parents die, you can get their money, but you won't get their time. So time is more precious than money. Let me find some more proverbs. And if you have any question, don't hesitate. There's an African proverb, a South African proverb. One does not become great by claiming greatness. This means that, let's say there's a president or an actor or a sportsman. Even if he's arrogant, he says he's the best, he's number one, he's the greatest of all time. His words don't amount to anything. Instead, we will judge him by his actions, by his talent, by his achievements. So one does not become great by claiming greatness. So whatever his claims are, it will be his actions and his talent that will speak for itself. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate. Otherwise, I will continue with some basic proverbs, very useful proverbs. These are a very fun way of acquiring a larger set of words and vocabulary. There's a proverb, an English proverb, a very well-known one. Birds of a feather flock together. Birds of a feather flock together. Means that people that share some characteristics, they tend to mingle, to go out together. For example, you maybe at school, all the popular kids, they tend to sit together and eat together. And maybe at work, all of your friends that are into, let's say, football, they tend to go out and play, drink together, eat together. So birds of a feather flock together. Another proverb. Adversity is the mother of wisdom. Adversity is the mother of wisdom. It means that when you don't have, when you're facing a crisis, when you're facing a very difficult situation, when you don't have much time to think, you tend to be creative. It forces you to think, to find solutions. So adversity is the mother of wisdom. There's a similar Russian proverb which goes like, necessity is the mother of invention. Necessity is the mother of invention. So when you don't have any alternative, when you don't have any choice, you're forced to, for example, let's say this month you don't have much money left, but you have to pay a lot of different bills. You have to purchase food. You have to make your family eat, to prepare food, send them to school. So in that case, adversity would be the mother of wisdom, because you will have to find ways and means to solve everyone's problems, to make your money go the extra mile, to get value for money. Maybe in that case, you would, for example, you would instead of buying new stuff, you could buy second-hand stuff. You could recycle instead of throwing away. You could recycle products, etc. So adversity is the mother of wisdom. Another proverb: a rolling stone gathers no moss. A rolling stone gathers no moss. Means that when you're continuously progressing, when you don't stand still, you won't become rusty. For example, let's say you are learning English. If you keep learning every day, you will not lose your skills. Instead, you will become better. You'll become more fluent. So, a rolling stone gathers no moss. Another proverb. If you have any question, don't hesitate. Just let me know. But and otherwise, I'll continue with some proverbs. There's a proverb. I think it's a Welsh proverb. A friend is known in adversity, like gold is known in fire. It means that it's only when you are facing difficulties that you will know your real friends. Just like gold, to find gold, to be able to detect gold, you'll have to put it in the fire. So a friend is known in adversity, Hi there, thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, just let me know. Maybe if you would like to know how to pronounce a word or the meaning of a word or expression, just let me know. Otherwise, I will continue from where I paused with very useful proverbs that you can use in writing or when speaking. A friend is known in adversity, like gold is known in fire. A friend is known in adversity, like gold is known in fire. It means that you will only know who your real you will only know who your real friend is when you are in a problem, when you're facing difficulties, when you're in trouble, because it's at that moment that your real friend will come at your rescue. He will come and help you, whereas your fake friends will just ignore you. So a friend is known in adversity. Another proverb: slow and steady wins the race. Means that you should not try to win a race by giving by running as fast as you can. Instead, you should be slow and steady. That way you will be able to finish it. Otherwise, you will just give up midway or even earlier, especially if you have a huge task ahead. Let's say you have to read 300 pages for an exam. You should not try to read 200 or 300 pages in one night, because otherwise you will be overloaded with information. Instead, break it down. Take it study, let's say 10 pages per day over 1 month, so you'll be able to prepare for your exam in a much better way instead of in just one night. Slow and steady wins the race. Another proverb: like father, like son, means that kids, they tend to resemble their parents, and they tend to behave similarly. For example, let's say if your father has some addictions, let's say he drinks a lot of alcohol, then the son become might have the same problem, because he will be used to living in a household where his father or parents drink a lot, so he will end up like them, like father, like son. There's also like mother, like daughter. It's the same thing, like mother, like daughter. There's a very overused proverb. Maybe it's not the best. You should understand it, but not use it really, because it's become a cliche. The proverb is: if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. If life gives you lemons, make lemonade. It means make the best out of any situation. Make the if let's say you were expelled from you were fired from work, instead of becoming depressed, seize this opportunity to maybe learn new skills and maybe get a very different job. Maybe you always wanted to become, let's say, a singer, but you are, let's say, a salesperson, or you were a teacher. You didn't have the opportunity to pursue your dream job. So when you get fired, in that case, you could make a lemonade. Means In this case, make lemonade means to make the most out of the situation. If life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Another very famous proverb: if the cat is away, the mice play. Means that when the person in charge is not present, those who he used to supervise, they tend to behave recklessly, and they tend to do whatever was prohibited. For example, let's say in a classroom, the teacher receives a phone call. He has to leave the classroom for, let's say, 10 minutes. During his absence, the children, the students, they might misbehave and start making a lot of noise. So the proverb is, if the cat is away, the mice play. Hi there, thanks for watching. If you have any question, maybe if you'd like to know how to pronounce a word or the meaning of a word or expression, just let me know. I will try to help you. Otherwise, meanwhile, I will continue with some basic vocabulary. Hi there, thanks for watching and joining us today. If you have any question, just let me know in the comment section, in the chat box. If you'd like to know, let's say, how to pronounce if you'd like to know how to pronounce a word, just let me know. Or if you'd like to know the meaning of a word or expression, let me know. Otherwise, I will continue with some basic vocabularies, some basic proverbs. Proverbs are a very common form of sentences that are used in English. For example, nobody can serve two masters. Let's say you're going out. Let's say you work on a boat. There can only be one captain. There cannot be two captains. Otherwise, there could be conflicts. Thus, the proverb goes, nobody can serve two masters. Otherwise, there will be conflict of interest, lots of conflicts. Another very famous proverb, all that glitters is not gold. So something that might appear beautiful or attractive Hi there, thanks for joining me today. If you have any question, just let me know. If you don't have any question, then maybe I could just continue with some basic vocabulary, some proverbs, very useful proverbs, such as all that glisters is not gold, This means that everything, something that might appear attractive, might appear beautiful, might not be the real thing, the real deal. So let's say uh, you find something. Let's say you find a bunch of money on the street. Let's say a $500 bill. It might not be real. It might be a forged bill. So all that glisters is not gold. Or let's say you have a friend, someone who pretends to be your friend. He or she smiles a lot with you and appears to be very friendly. That might be not his real personality. He might just be smiling with you, laughing with you just to gain an advantage. Maybe you have a lot of money and he pretends to be a friend just to be able to come to your parties, to enjoy your lifestyle. But let's say you become poor, you lose all of your money, then that person's true nature will be revealed. And in that case, all that glisters is not gold. Another very common proverb: cobbler's children are worst shod. Cobbler's children are worst shod. Means that when you are a very hardworking person, you tend to neglect your own children or your own needs. You tend to give to prioritize other people's needs, especially let's say in Japan, the people tend to work a lot. They work 18 hours per day. They don't have any family. They don't have any social life. So the proverb is very fitting for them. Cobbler's children or worst shod. It might explain why, for example, in Japan, a lot of people become depressed. Another proverb, and that one is a very practical one. Learn to walk before you can run. Learn to walk before you can run. It simply means you should not rush. You should take small baby steps. Learn the basics first. For example, if you're learning English, don't start reading about very complex grammar rules, very complex punctuation rules, because otherwise you will become confused and you might even become unmotivated and you will give up. So learn to walk before you can run. Learn the basics before setting your sights on the more on the harder aspects of something. Let me find some more proverbs. There's a proverb. I think it's a Belgian proverb. It goes like this: it's better to be alone than in bad company. It's better to be alone than in bad company. It means that sometimes, for example, it's better for you to be single. It's better for you not to be married than to be in a bad marriage, to have a bad husband or a bad wife who treats you badly. In that case, it's better to be alone rather than in bad company. Another very famous proverb: the apple does not fall far from the tree. The apple does not fall far from the tree. It means that children, they tend to mimic their parents' behavior, their parents' language, and also, let's say if the parent is an actor, the children will tend to is likely to become an actor himself. So the apple does not fall far from the tree. Let me find a couple more proverbs. There's a very famous proverb from Star Trek. It's challenge your preconceptions or they will challenge you. It means you should not you should have an open mind, otherwise you will have you will have trouble adjusting to reality, because reality does not have to to be in harmony with your expectations. So you should challenge your preconceptions. Let's say you don't believe. Let's say uh, you are very you are very you believe that the Earth is flat. You don't believe that the Earth is actually a sphere. In that case, you will have a stereotype in mind. You will have a preconception. Let's say one day you go out on a spaceship, but you still maintain that the Earth is flat, and you plan accordingly. Let's say with the coordinates, you don't input the right coordinates on your spaceship. You might get into an accident, because you might not get where you wanted or take the right course of action. So challenge your preconceptions or they will challenge you. Let me find just another proverb. There's another proverb. Logic is the beginning, not the end of wisdom. Logic is the beginning, not the end of wisdom. So if you want to become wise, if you want to make wise decisions, you should